Hello friends, Coach Bob with you this morning, and this morning you may be surprised if a lovely Florida morning could be like this, but it is. There's ice on top of the houses. I wouldn't call it ice, and you northerners, I'm sure where you guys get really cold, you wouldn't call it ice either. It's really just frost. But we have some frost on the ground this morning. Now, look at Billie Jean, man, she looks cold. Check her out. And check out the old gray mare. Man, she ain't looking too warm either. What this means it's time for a ride. Every year, I go out on the first frost ride. And for those who have been around a while, you went with me last year. But if you didn't, and even if you did, just ride along with me again, because another trip around the sun has happened. Let's go for a ride on a nice, cold morning and talk about why we would do such a crazy thing. Let's tighten this thing on down here this morning before we get going. It's been about 15-20 minutes. You can see the sun, once it starts coming up a little bit, it starts melting this stuff off pretty quick. So I want to get it before it gets warm. Part of this ride is about the sting, as you know. This ride is a sentimental ride to me. One you'll understand a little more once we get going. I feel like I'm getting on a horse this morning. Straighten this camera out just a tad. Just to let you know, these are a pair of sunglasses. This is these glasses are some really old pair. They're a no-name brand. They've half fallen apart, all scratched up. Nothing new's allowed on this ride. I've got new boots, but these are my old ones. About walk through the bottom of those. These are my old gloves. You can see the stuff's peeling off of them. In fact, I think it's this one there. It's just hanging on. Half the stuff's going on there. Velcro's all gone. Got on my old Joe Rocket jacket. Traditions, are they worth it? I think they are. Well, you know what? Do you ever do that? You ever get your gloves on and realize you forgot to connect your helmet? I got things going on in the old brain this morning. All right, well, the inside garage temperature was nice and warm for the old Spyder. And she still complained a little bit when I cranked her up this morning to warm her up. Yeah, I think it's time for a new battery. All right. Yeah, you can see my neighbor still got his Christmas stuff up. So if you're wondering what the date is, it's the first week of January. It's the Tuesday before this video comes out. So I think that's January 3rd. Ooh, that breeze is cold on the old knees. I don't allow my double-coated pants on today. You gotta feel it. You gotta feel the sting. Oh, see those houses there so they still have the frost on the roof. Nice. It's beautiful. All right, well, let's close this old shield up. So welcome to another most important ride of your life. And you know, this is the most important ride of my life. Last year, it was this ride. And this year, it is this ride. This ride will supersede last year, and next year will supersede this year if I am so blessed as to have another trip around this beautiful sun on this wonderful planet. You know, I believe I mentioned it last year, and this is something that will be done every year. I have a theory in my life. It's called posts. And here's what I mean by that. Every time you do something in your life, every time you do something successful, you get something right. A kid graduates from high school. You said I do to that beautiful bride. The birth of a first child, the success in a career, the wonderment of retirement, you know, a child getting out of boot camp, or the birth of your first grandchild. All of the successes you have in your life, even if they end up being failures later, because that can happen too, you put a post in the ground. You put a post in the ground every time you have a success in your mind. You get out imaginary post hole diggers, you sweat in the sun, and you put down a fence post. You buy a 9 or a 10 footer, and you only leave about 3 feet sticking out of the ground. It's in there and it's solid. And later on, when a failure comes and the winds come and this crazy world tries to sweep you back, you start reaching out for those posts that you put in the ground. And you might miss the first one, and you may miss the second and third one, but eventually you're going to grab one as they start to slow you down, and you grab a hold of one, and you can remember right here, that spot right here, I had it together right then. This ride every year is a fence post that I put in the ground. This is a success. It's a success that I have made it another trip around the sun, not by a calendar, but by an event placed on this planet. And that is the first frost on the ground. Whoo, don't do that. This would be the last one. It's the most important and last ride of his life. Man, I tell you, driving is fun, isn't it? All right. Now, there are 6 reasons I do this, and I'm going to go right down them pretty quick. This video won't be that long, so hang in there. Number 1, and this won't surprise anyone who knows me, anyone who's been around me, this is simply to appreciate God's creation. You know, this world that He made for us, this is our world. He put us here to be stewards over it. Now, if you were to ask me, Bob, are you an environmentalist? I would tell you hands down no. But I am one of those guys that believes in taking care of the planet. I believe in taking care of this world that God gave us. You know, God told us to be good stewards of the things that we are over. We have dominion over this planet, and we're supposed to take care of it. And I think that when we don't take care of it, that we are committing a very horrible, horrible act, and we're being irresponsible children. These trees that have been here long before I was born, and God willing will be here years after I am gone, tell me how small that I am. They give me one more sign of how small that I am in this beautiful world, in this massive playground that I get the privilege of coming out and riding a motorcycle on and enjoying every moment of my life right here doing this. You know, I don't need to travel globally, and I don't have a desire to see a lot of beautiful things that are out there. I just love where I am, and wherever I am, wherever that takes me in this massive playground, I will love where I am, whether it's a desert, whether it's the lowest valley or the highest mountain or the most beautiful or rancid seashore. I will just love where I am placed. Thank you for this beautiful planet. All right, reason number 2. Yes, sir. Moving right along. Experience the change of season. You know, we talk about the Christmas season and the Thanksgiving season and the calendar seasons, you know. But I want to experience, look at the ice on the front side of the church. Wow, that's so cool. To experience the real change of season, what is actually happening in front of your eyes. You've heard me talk about on a lot of things, how we buy the lie, you know, how we eat the poison of this crazy world of the things. I think I'll turn the heated grips on. No, I won't. You know what? I was going to turn them on out of pure habit, but I'm not. I want my hands to be cold this morning. Look at that lake. Man, that is so beautiful. But a calendar will only tell you so much. You need to get out and you need to feel it. When it gets hot, when it gets 100 degrees every now and then, you just need to go out and sweat. You need to understand that the season has changed. You've made it another time around this big old sun on this giant ball spinning in space, and the season has changed, and not because some guy wrote a number on a page, but because you felt it, you sensed it, it was real, it was a part of your life, your very being, and that's what this ride represents to me. I've made it around again. Reason number 3. All right. Reason number 3 is just to come out and think about the wonderful memories that I've made this year. There are a lot of you who have just joined this channel, just become a part of this little community, the little CB3 community. By the way, I'm very flattered to be a part of it. I don't feel like I am very important. I don't feel like I'm anything. If you were to see me, I don't expect you to know me. I don't expect anyone to say, wow, that's Coach Bob. No. The memories that I've made with you guys, to meet you guys, you're important to me. Anyone who's been around me a while also knows that I love people. I love meeting people, and the memories that I've made are around those things, those events. The events that I do, I love to ride. I will tell you, I love the solitude of riding. I love putting in the miles. So we made memories. So let's talk about a few. One, that beautiful trip that Coach Vic and I made down to Key West, Florida, and then back up to Maine. What a wonderful trip. We met a bartender named Thomas down in Key West, young man, and we met a guy named Earl up in Maine, and folks, within those thousands of miles in between, connections that we made, things that we saw, observing Katahdin, and seeing the black flies, experiencing the swarming of the black flies in the forest of Maine. Just wonderful. Being cold, being wet, being hot, seeing the leaves in Vermont, experiencing the first birthday of my grandson, knowing that I have another grandson. Yes, I have another grandson on the way. That's super exciting. Knowing that my oldest daughter is preparing for marriage here in the next 5 weeks, and there's so much to do. Seeing changes, memories of the year are not just successes, they're failures. And my family's had some failures this year. Life can be hard, it can be confusing when you see things that start out so well end so poorly, but you just keep moving on. And yet the good memories and the bad memories can coexist. So think back over your year. Think of the beautiful memories. Think of the beautiful things that have happened in your life. Even in the midst of tragedy, how something can be rebuilt. My sister and I have developed a relationship, something I never thought we would have as an adult. And it was all surrounded around a bad event, and that was the death of my mother. There is beauty in the storm. Sometimes you just have to look for it, but it's there. Reason number 4, that sun is up now. Wow. To think about those who are no longer with us. Some folks would say that makes this ride kind of grim. I would disagree. This is actually my favorite one of this ride. Actually, I have 2 favorites. I know what you're saying. You can't have 2 favorites, Coach. You can only have one. Well, this is my ride, so I can do what I want, and so can you. But those who are no longer with us, I mentioned last year my deceased wife, who was wonderful. I think of her every time I come out in the cold. She used to love going out in the cold. She loved to put on sweaters and scarves. She liked the fashion of it. She liked feeling pretty, feeling like a model. She bought a Burberry scarf the year before she died. Said she paid way too much for it. I'd probably agree if I would have looked at the checkbook, but I really didn't care because it made her happy. But she loved that feeling. She loved drinking the hot chocolate. She wasn't a big coffee drinker. She loved drinking hot chocolate like a kid. And she always wore socks. Always wore socks in the winter, even in the house. My father, who was a crass, hard man, who we got along and didn't get along, who I am more like every single day, who I look in the mirror and I see him to a point at which it is scary. Also, my brother. My brother died when he was 49. I got a phone call from my father saying that Ricky was dead, and I couldn't believe it. My brother was, you've heard me describe him, we were never close. We were 9 years apart. I was 40 when he died. It makes him 49, as I said. I remember seeing him ride motorcycles. He was chiseled. He was the perfect height for an athlete, that 5'9", 5'10" area. There's a formula, by the way, if you didn't know, for folks who run really good and have that beautiful physique, and he was the formula. He fit it to a T. He had the six-pack abs, he had the firm, squared-up shoulders, the olive skin, and the black hair. He was handsome, and he was cool. He wore the square-toed motorcycle boots. He had the pants with the little metal pieces down it, crimped through the seam on the bottom of the pants. And he wore white shirts that contrasted with his dark skin. And he was my hero when I was a boy. We were never close as I grew into a man. And then this past year, my mother died. My mom, I was a mama's boy, y'all. In fact, I'm still a mama's boy. I miss my mom. I do. She was awesome. She could make me smile quick as anyone on this planet. And you know what? She could also infuriate me as fast. She could. She should have worked at an airport, because if she could pack bags as fast as she could pack you to go on a guilt trip, you could be traveling all over the world. Yeah, my mother was awesome. I'm a lot like her as well. I'm grateful to have had the mom that I had. So, thoughts of those who are no longer with us. Number 5, to simply stop and think. To think about anything. I think that is severely underrated in this world today, is to just think. To think about the beauty of what's around us. To think about the things that make this world wonderful, as opposed to looking for a problem, looking for a solution. To think about the things that you love. To think about simple things. To think about a walk in the woods. The thought of building a fire and warming your cold hands by it. All of that. To simply stop and think. Do you ever ponder? Yeah, I know you do. And reason number 6, last but certainly not least, the old fingers, they don't hurt anymore. I'm gonna tell you, they don't. They're just numb now. Which is part of why reason number 6 is here. Because my body is aching a little bit, I'm gonna tell you. Because I'm not overdressed, I can assure you. Let this guy go. I'm doing 10 over the speed limit, but we'll let him run on. That's a working man right there. He's got work to do. Been watching him behind me. I'm surprised it took him that long. He doesn't have time to do this ride. At least not right now. All right. So number 6. Years ago, after my first wife died, I used to get on my Harley Davidson and wear nothing but a beanie helmet and a leather jacket. I'd ride to work. Sometimes down in the teens, and I'd get to work, my face would be red as a beet. It would be stinging and burning. And my buddies at work would look at me and they go, "Bob, you are a lunatic. You are insane. You're a masochist. What are you doing this for?" And I'd look them in the eye and I'd say, "You see that red face? You see that sting and that burn? That tells me one thing. It reminds me of one thing. And that's what this ride right here is about. It tells me, you are alive. I am alive. And if you can hear the passion welling up in me, you know I mean it. I'm going to tell you, I'm alive. And I am glad, I am appreciative that I have another breath in my lungs and another beat in my heart. I am alive. And this motorcycle ride every year reminds me of that very thing. And as long as I have the power, as long as I have the ability to get out there and drag my bludgeoned old body out to a motorcycle of any kind, whether there's a camera running running or not, I will drag myself onto that motorcycle so that I will remember. It will remind me one more time that you, my friend, are alive, and you are alive too. Don't let the world tell you that you're dead. You're not dead. You're alive. Be grateful for it, for one more second, for one more portion of a second, for that fraction of a breath. Appreciate every single one of them, in good times, in bad. You're alive. You know, right now we're dealing with some things in our family, as every family is dealing with. You know, we've had family members get devastating news, devastating medical things, and all of that. And the one thing that always comes out is they want another day. We all want another day. Understand this. You nor I are promised tomorrow. We're not. Man, if I sound like I'm fired up, I'm fired up because I'm alive. I'm alive. If you could see my fingers right now, in fact, I'm going to do this. Show you something. See, these have got a little redness to them. And that one's just completely white. That finger right there, I had a compound fracture years ago. Almost lost that finger. That finger hurts so bad right now, it feels like somebody beat it with a hammer. And I'm going to tell you, I'm grateful for it. Bring it on. Bring it on. I want to feel every bit of it. I want to feel the sting. I want to feel every reminder in the nervous system of this old 60-year-old man body. You better look out. I'm going to start preaching. Here we go. Yeah, I'm fired up. I'm alive. And so are you. Oh, look at this dude. He's out doing his work too. Garbage man. Dude's got a job to do, man. I'm grateful for those guys. You know, anybody who puts down the garbage, man, let me tell you something. You're wrong. If it wasn't for that guy, you'd be living in garbage. You better appreciate him. All right, my friends. Well, there you have it. You are alive. I am alive. And it is a great day. So wherever you are on this world, whether it's hot outside, cold outside, get outside, feel the wind in your face, feel the sting in your eyes, the dryness in your throat, and appreciate every dadgum feeling, good and bad. Most important ride of my life has come to an end, at least as far as you're concerned. I'm gonna ride for another hour or so, I can tell you that, because you know what? This is just a small portion of it. This is just a small portion of it. I want to ride. I want to think. While I do that, you go out, buy the motorcycle of your dreams, eat right, take care of yourself, and remember, if you're not having fun, my friend, you are definitely doing it wrong. Now you go seize the day, and I'll see you on the road real soon.